A death of the mask, awakening the hidden self beneath the nice persona. We live in a world that conditions us from a young age to be nice, not kind, not real, just nice, polite, agreeable, non-threatening. We're taught to smile to avoid confrontation, to nod even when we disagree, to suppress our truth if it might disturb someone else's comfort. But niceness is often a mask we wear to survive in a reality that punishes authenticity. And beneath that mask, something ancient waits, something raw, untamed, and holy. When the dark chosen ones shed the mask of niceness, they don't become cruel, they become whole. Because to be truly whole, we must reclaim the parts of ourselves we exiled to survive. The anger we denied, the truth we swallowed, the boundaries we never enforced. In that reclamation, we unlock something far more powerful than politeness. We unlock our shadow powers. Not dark in the way we've been taught to fear, but dark like the womb. Dark like the soil, dark like the void where stars are born. The first power to awaken is radical boundaries. When you stop being nice, you stop bleeding energy into relationships that drain you. You stop saying yes out of guilt. You stop over-explaining your no. You begin to feel the sacredness of your time, your body, your presence. And suddenly, people who once leaned on your compliance begin to fall away. This can feel like loss at first, but what's really happening is a clearing, a recalibration of who has the right to stand in your field. Niceness teaches us to be liked, boundaries teach us to be respected. And the truth is, you cannot be powerful and pleasing at the same time. Radical boundaries are not about pushing others away, they're about calling your energy home. Every time you say no without guilt, you retrieve a piece of your soul. Every time you stop performing for approval, a new layer of strength is forged inside you. This is not selfishness. This is energetic sovereignty. Then comes sacred rage. This is the fire that was silenced in you the first time you were told to calm down, be good, or stop overreacting. But rage is not evil. It is the immune system of the soul. It rises when your boundaries are violated. It rises when something sacred in you is being betrayed. When you stop being nice, you stop suppressing this holy fire. You let it move through you, not to destroy, but to cleanse. Sacred rage is not a tantrum. It's a clear, grounded, focused force that says, I will no longer abandon myself. It's the moment you stop apologizing for being intense, for being emotional, for being real. And when you channel this rage consciously, it becomes a force of divine reclamation. It burns away false identities. It clears ancestral wounds. It awakens your inner warrior, not the one who fights with fists, but the one who fights with truth. From this fire emerges the third power, truth-telling. Nice people lie. Not because they're bad, but because they've been trained to prioritize harmony over honesty. But truth is not a weapon, it's a frequency. When you speak it, your entire reality shifts. When you stop being nice, you stop hiding behind half-truths and pleasing words. You say what you actually feel. You name what you actually see. And even though this might make others uncomfortable, it liberates you. Because the moment you start speaking truth, you stop betraying yourself. You stop holding your breath in rooms that ask you to shrink. You stop being a mirror for other people's projections and start becoming a mirror for their awakening. Truth-telling is not about being blunt or cruel. It's about being clear. It's about choosing reality over illusion. And the more you tell the truth, the more magnetic you become, because everyone deep down is starving for something real. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Divine intimidation. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about becoming energetically uncontainable. When you stop being nice, your energy expands in ways that unsettle those who once controlled you. You no longer need to prove anything. You no longer seek approval. Your presence alone becomes disruptive, Not because you're trying to intimidate, but because your very existence challenges the lies others live in. There's a deep, primal power in someone who knows who they are and no longer needs permission to be it. This is the energy of the lioness, the storm, the sacred outlaw. You walk into a room and reality adjusts. People sense that you are no longer bendable, no longer moldable. You are not safe in the way society defines safety. You are sovereign, and that makes you unforgettable. From this sovereignty emerges the fifth power, energetic discernment. Niceness makes you porous. It turns you into an emotional sponge, soaking up other people's pain, guilt, and confusion. But when you reclaim your shadow, you start to feel where your energy ends and another's begins. You stop rescuing people who don't want to be saved. You stop absorbing chaos that isn't yours. You stop carrying ancestral burdens that were never yours to begin with. You begin to cleanse your field. You begin to protect your frequency. And suddenly your intuition sharpens. Your body becomes a compass. You walk through the world with clarity and precision. This power is not about shutting down, it's about tuning in. You become a guardian of your own life force. And in doing so, you stop being a victim of energy and start becoming a master of it. All of this leads us to the edge of something vast. The sixth and final shadow power in this first awakening is creative chaos. Niceness demands control. It wants everything tidy, digestible, and acceptable. But when you stop being nice, you stop trying to package yourself for the world. You stop trying to be palatable. And suddenly your creativity explodes. You start writing what you were afraid to say. You start dancing the way your body has always wanted to move. You start building, designing, imagining, expressing without filters. This is the realm of the mystic, the artist, the revolutionary. Chaos is not destruction, it is the fertile soil of rebirth. It is the howl of the soul finally freed. And from this chaos, a new version of you is born, one that doesn't need to be liked, because it is too busy being true. You no longer create for applause. You create because it's who you are. You no longer live for approval. You live for alignment. And in that space, your life becomes a sacred act of rebellion. The mirror of fire, why the world fears your shadow and how to use it to transform reality. When you begin to walk the path of the dark chosen, the very fabric of your life starts to shift. You're no longer operating from the scripts that were written for you by your parents, your culture, or your trauma. You're no longer seeking to be digestible. And because of this, the world reacts. Not always with applause, sometimes with fear, sometimes with confusion, sometimes with rage. Why? Because your shadow is a mirror, and most people have spent their entire lives avoiding their own reflection. When you stop being nice, you become that reflection. You awaken something dormant in the people around you. You trigger them. You call out their masks without even speaking a word. And that's why the path of the dark chosen is not for the faint-hearted, because it's not just about your power, it's about your impact. Your presence becomes a force of truth, and truth, when it hits a false world, feels like fire. The world doesn't fear your light. It fears your wholeness. Because wholeness includes the parts of yourself society told you to exile. Your anger, your grief, your lust, your ambition, your depth, your wildness. Most people are walking around as edited versions of themselves, filtered, polished, and half alive. When you walk in your shadow, you walk with your entire being. And this is terrifying for those who've clipped their wings in exchange for belonging. They look at you and remember what they gave up to be accepted. That's the mirror of fire. It doesn't just show them who you are, it shows them what they could have been if they had dared to break the rules. And so, they project. They call you arrogant, intense, rebellious, selfish. But deep down, it's not you they hate, It's the part of themselves that still longs to be free. Understanding this is crucial because one of your greatest shadow powers is energetic non-attachment. You stop needing others to understand you. You stop needing to be validated by people who have never met their own soul. You stop trying to explain your evolution to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. And in that detachment, you discover something priceless: peace. Not the superficial peace of avoiding conflict, but the deep, unshakable peace of being rooted in your truth. You begin to see that being misunderstood is often a sign that you're on the right path. Because if you were still playing small, they'd celebrate you. If you were still digestible, they'd praise you. But the moment you step into your raw, unapologetic power, they resist. And that resistance, that's confirmation. You've left the hive. You're no longer a cog. You're a creator now. And this brings us to a deeper, more subtle power: shadow compassion. It's easy to hate the world when you first awaken, to look at the conditioning, the manipulation, the generational trauma, and feel disgusted. But eventually, your shadow teaches you something higher than anger. It teaches you to see the pain beneath the mask. You begin to recognize that those who tried to dim your light were once children who had their own light stolen. You begin to see that the toxic patterns you inherited were survival mechanisms passed down through generations of unhealed souls. And in that recognition, your heart softens, not in a way that makes you weak, but in a way that makes you wise. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer fight shadows with shadows. You become the alchemist. You turn pain into power. You turn trauma into truth. And from that place, you begin to heal not just yourself, but the entire lineage behind you. Now let's talk about spiritual disobedience. This is the power that emerges when you stop following spiritual rules that were designed to keep you tame. When you stop trying to love and light your way out of your own depth. Mainstream spirituality often becomes another prison, one that teaches you to bypass your pain, to avoid your rage, to silence your truth in the name of positivity. But the shadow doesn't play that game. The shadow says, feel it all, own it all. Integrate tal. You stop chasing transcendence and begin honoring immanence, the holiness of being fully human. You realize that God doesn't just live in the light. God lives in the storm, in the blood, in the orgasm, in the silence, in the scream. You're no longer trying to escape the world, you're here to transform it. And that transformation begins when you stop obeying systems that were never built for your liberation. You start to see the deeper illusion that governs much of the world. The illusion that power must be earned through sacrifice, obedience, or suffering. But your shadow reveals something else entirely: innate authority. You don't have to earn your right to exist. You don't have to prove your worth to be respected. You don't have to climb ladders built by others to claim your throne. You are the authority. You are the source. You are the sovereign. And when you embody this, your entire reality bends to meet it. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for approval. You stop trying to be chosen. Because you realize you already are the chosen one. You chose yourself. And in that self-initiation, you unlock timelines that were previously inaccessible. You collapse the old matrix and begin walking the path that only you can walk. This is where miracles happen, not because you begged for them, but because you remembered. You are the miracle. But perhaps the most mysterious and potent shadow power is this: reality-bending presence. When you stop being nice and start being real, your presence begins to bend reality. Your thoughts carry more weight. Your words manifest faster. Your emotions become portals. You're no longer just a person, you're a frequency, a walking vortex. And people feel it. They don't know why they're drawn to you, why they fear you, why they dream of you, why they remember you. But it's because you are no longer bound by the same rules. You've stepped into the archetype of the dark initiate, the one who has faced the void and come back whole. And from that place, reality responds. Synchronicities multiply, opportunities arise, enemies fall away. You speak and the world rearranges itself. Not because you're forcing it, but because you are aligned. You are congruent. You are real. And there is nothing more magical or more dangerous than a human who has stopped pretending. How to use shadow power to rewrite destiny and awaken others without losing yourself. There comes a moment on the dark path when you realize this isn't just about you anymore. Yes, your awakening began in silence, in pain, in solitude. But now your energy carries weight beyond personal healing. You become a signal, a frequency, a lighthouse for others who are still trapped in the illusion of being nice. And the reason this power is so dangerous to the old world is because it's contagious. When one person reclaims their shadow, they unconsciously give permission for others to do the same. When you walk into a room fully embodied, unapologetic, and aligned, you transmit something without speaking. You become a living invitation. You too can be free. And here lies the responsibility. Because once you start awakening others simply by existing, you must learn how to hold your center. You must learn how to be a mirror without absorbing, a guide without becoming a savior, a fire without burning yourself out. To do that, you must master the final and most sacred of all shadow powers, energetic containment. This is the ability to hold your frequency no matter what surrounds you. It's when you stop leaking your power to prove, to fix, to validate, or to teach those who are not ready. This is a hard truth. Not everyone wants to wake up. Not everyone wants to meet their shadow. And if you try to force them, you'll only exhaust yourself and delay your own evolution. Containment means you stop casting your pearls to the unconscious. You stop explaining your magic to disbelievers. You stop pouring your energy into bottomless wells. Instead, you become a chalice, a vessel. You hold your own fire, your own truth, your own vibration. And from that place, those who are truly ready will find you. Not because you were loud, but because you were real. This is where you begin to understand the deeper mechanics of reality, that your inner world is the code that writes the outer world. And when you reclaim your shadow, your inner world becomes congruent, aligned, whole, and potent. This is why you start noticing that your thoughts create faster, that time bends around your decisions, that people appear out of nowhere to support your journey, that strange synchronicities follow your every move. This isn't coincidence, it's coherence. You've become a vessel through which spiritual intelligence can operate cleanly. You're no longer bogged down by guilt, shame, or performance. You're no longer split into fragments of who you think you should be. You're whole, and wholeness is magnetic. This is how you begin to rewrite destiny, not by striving harder, but by aligning deeper. You realize that the version of you who still needed to be liked could never have accessed this timeline. It was waiting for the real you all along. But walking this path doesn't mean you'll always feel strong. In fact, the deeper you go, the more you'll face sacred tests. Tests of loyalty to your own soul. Tests of integrity to your own truth. The world will offer you opportunities to sell out, to soften your message, to go back to being digestible. And in those moments you will be tempted, because comfort is seductive, safety is addictive. But if you've truly awakened your shadow powers, you'll feel the falseness of it in your bones. You'll sense the cost. You'll realize that every time you betray your truth, even a little, you fracture your power. And so you learn to choose the harder path, the lonely path, the holy path. You learn to walk away from what looks good on paper in order to protect what feels true in the soul. And that's when you become unstoppable. Not because you're perfect, but because you are no longer for sale. Now you begin to see how your presence affects others. You watch people change in your field. Some rise, some retreat, some lash out, some awaken. And the key is this: you don't take any of it personally, because you've transcended the need to be understood. You're no longer performing for applause. You're showing up as a mirror. And mirrors don't chase. Mirrors don't explain. Mirrors don't adjust their reflection based on who's looking. They reflect. This is how you start to awaken others without losing yourself. You embody the truth so deeply that others see their own truth reflected back. You don't preach. You don't convince. You exist. And in doing so, you change the frequency of every room you enter. This is the silent revolution, the invisible initiation, the transmission that requires no words. So now I ask you this: with all the power you've reclaimed, what will you stand for when no one is watching? What will you protect when it costs you everything? Who will you be when you no longer need to be liked? These questions are not rhetorical. They are keys to the next level of embodiment, the next level of impact, the next level of liberation. Because the final seal of shadow mastery is this: you no longer live for the world, you live as a portal for the divine. Your life becomes a living ritual. Every choice, every word, every step is aligned with your highest frequency. You are no longer chasing destiny. You are destiny. And from this place, there is nothing you cannot create, destroy, or awaken. You are the storm and the silence, the chaos and the clarity, the shadow and the light. You have remembered who you are. And now, so will the world. You ever wonder why the world tells you to be nice? Not kind, not honest, just agreeable, safe. Dickastevel, I used to think that being nice was a virtue, that if I just pleased enough people, shrunk myself small enough, avoided conflict long enough, I'd finally be accepted. But the truth is, the world doesn't reward nice, it rewards real. And the moment I stopped being nice, I didn't become cruel. I became whole. When you drop the mask, a fire gets lit inside you. A fire that doesn't burn to destroy, but to illuminate. And that's when the first shadow power awakens, radical boundaries. You begin to see how much of your energy was leaking into places that never deserved it. The people you said yes to out of guilt, the situations you endured out of fear. Suddenly you stop explaining your no. You stop apologizing for existing. You start reclaiming the pieces of yourself you abandoned to survive. Have you ever asked yourself, how much of my life has been lived for others' comfort and not my truth? Then comes sacred rage. Not the kind of rage that lashes out or destroys. I'm talking about the holy fire that rises when your soul says no more. Remember the first time someone told you to calm down, be good, stop overreacting? That was the moment your rage was buried. But rage is the immune system of your soul. It tells you when something sacred is being violated. And when you channel it consciously, it becomes a force of healing, not harm. You stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You start saying, I will no longer abandon myself. From this fire, truth-telling rises. Most people lie every day, not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of making others uncomfortable. But truth isn't a weapon, it's a frequency. And when you stop being nice, you stop hiding behind soft lies and start speaking real truth. You say what you see, you name what you feel, and yes, it will shake people. But here's the blessing: every time you tell the truth, you stop betraying yourself. You stop shrinking. You stop dying slowly in rooms that never saw you. Who would you be if you told the truth, even when your voice trembled? And then something strange happens. You stop trying to prove yourself. You stop asking for approval, and your presence alone becomes disruptive, divine intimidation. People feel it, not because you're aggressive, but because your energy is no longer containable. You walk into rooms and reality adjusts. You are no longer bendable, no longer moldable. You are sovereign, a lioness in a world that prefers kittens, a storm in a society that worships silence. Can you feel that? That's your power waking up. Next is energetic discernment. You begin to feel where your energy ends and another's begins. You stop absorbing chaos that isn't yours. You stop rescuing people who don't want to be saved. You stop carrying ancestral wounds that were never yours to heal. You start realizing that love without boundaries is self-abandonment, that empathy without discernment is self-destruction. And so you protect your frequency like it's sacred because it is. And from that protection, chaos is born, creative chaos. Niceness wants order, predictability, approval. But your soul wants freedom, expression, wildness. And when you stop being nice, your creativity explodes. You write what you were afraid to say. You dance like the universe is watching. You build worlds with your bare hands. You stop creating for applause and start creating for truth. You stop living for approval and start living in alignment. What would you create if you no longer needed anyone to like it? But this is just the beginning. You see, the deeper you go into your shadow, the more you realize the world doesn't fear your light, it fears your wholeness. Because wholeness includes the parts they told you to exile, your grief, your desire, your ambition, your rage, your wildness. And when you walk in your wholeness, people don't always cheer. Some retreat, some attack, some call you selfish, intense, arrogant. But none of that is about you. It's about the part of them that still longs to be free and hates that you already are. This is why one of the most sacred powers we unlock is energetic non-attachment. You stop needing to be understood. You stop explaining your evolution to those who have never met their own soul. You stop leaking your magic to people committed to misunderstanding you. And you find something even rarer than love, peace. Not the peace of avoidance, but the peace of alignment. The kind of peace that makes you untouchable in the best way possible. Eventually, your shadow teaches you something surprising. Compassion. Not the soft, smiling kind. The kind that sees clearly. You begin seeing that those who tried to dim your light were once children whose light was stolen. That their cruelty was once a shield. That their judgment was once a survival strategy. You stop fighting shadows with shadows. You start transmuting them. You become an alchemist, turning pain into power, trauma into truth. Can you forgive the wound not because it was okay, but because you're done letting it define you? And then you break the final illusion that you need to earn your power, that you need permission to be sovereign, that you need to climb a ladder to be chosen. You realize you are the authority, you are the source, you are the miracle. You stop trying to be chosen and start choosing yourself. You stop waiting for the world's validation and start validating your own soul. And in that moment, your entire timeline shifts. The future begins to bend around your embodiment. But the most dangerous, magical, untouchable power of all, reality bending presence. When you stop pretending, your presence becomes a frequency. People feel it. They don't know why they're drawn to you, dream of you, remember you. But it's because you are real, and real is rare. You speak and the world rearranges itself, not because you force it, but because you're aligned, you're congruent, you're whole, and the world has no choice but to reflect that back. So now I ask you again, not as a teacher, but as a mirror, what will you stand for when no one's watching? What will you protect when it costs you everything? Who will you become when you no longer need to be liked? Because this is the final seal of shadow mastery. You no longer live for the world. You live as a portal for the divine. Every breath a ritual, every word a spell, every step an initiation. You are no longer chasing destiny. You are destiny. And from this place there is nothing you cannot awaken, nothing you cannot destroy. nothing you cannot become. So let them call you dark. Let them call you too much, because in truth, you were never nice. You were always holy. And now, finally, you remember. But remember this, power without grounding is just performance. As your shadow awakens, it will test you, not with obvious enemies, but with subtle temptations. The urge to be seen, to be praised, to be right. The ego will want to hijack your gifts, dress them up in gold robes, and parade them for validation. But the real work is in silence, in solitude, in the moments no one sees. Can you still choose truth when no one is watching? Can you still honor your energy when everyone claps for your performance, but your soul whispers, "This isn't it"? That's the quiet revolution. That's where real mastery is forged, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows behind the stage. You must also learn the art of holding your frequency when others project onto you, holding your truth when the world offers you easier paths, holding your center when your gifts begin to awaken others, some who will love you for it, and some who will hate you. Not everyone is ready to meet their shadow, and if you confuse their resistance with your failure, you will waste your fire. Your job is not to convince or to convert. Your job is to be steady, clear, magnetic, a mirror that doesn't flinch, a flame that doesn't apologize. The moment you start holding your power without spilling it, you become untouchable. Not because you're above others, but because you're finally with yourself. And here's what no one tells you about awakening. It can be lonely. You will outgrow people, places, even versions of yourself. You may mourn the life you built to survive, because now you're building a life to thrive. And thriving requires truth. It requires grief. It requires letting go of the illusions that once kept you safe. But the beauty is, once you've walked through that fire, you no longer fear loss. You realize that anything that falls away while you are becoming more of yourself was never aligned with your highest self to begin with. You stop grieving what you lost and start celebrating what you made space for. And in that emptiness, the universe rushes in with something better than belonging, resonance. So here you are, not at the end, but at the threshold. You've shed the mask. You've faced the mirror. You've remembered the power that was never lost, only hidden. And now the question is not, will the world accept me? The question is, am I ready to live as truth itself? Because when you walk this path, there's no going back. The old world will no longer fit. But a new world will open, one only available to those who dared to stop being nice and started being real. And in that world, you don't chase miracles. You are the miracle. You don't wait for the light. You are the storm that births the stars.